So the next question is search in a rotated sorted array 2. Over here in this question guys, there are a couple of things that are different from the previous question. The first difference is that duplicate elements are allowed in this question. So in the previous question all the elements of the array were unique, but like previous question only, in this question as well, the array that is given to us is a proper rotated version of a sorted array, right? So here also we will be provided with a target as well, but the output also is different. The output, previously we had to return the index at which the target element is present, but over here we just need to return either a true or a false, denoting that if the element is present in the array or not. As simple as that. Now over here I have written, just like in the previous question, if you remember, in this condition we were checking if my mid was lying in the first sorted half of the array or not. Like there are two sorted half of the array, either the mid will land in the first sorted half or in the second sorted half, right? Now we need to identify which portion was sorted. So this LC portion was handling the case when my start to mid was sorted, and my else part was handling the case where my mid to end was sorted. Now I need to first find out that if there is a repetition of element, can I not use this approach? Let us find out. So I have intentionally taken these cases over here just to make you understand. See, all the other test cases apart from the case that I am going to visualize, this kind of cases will be struck in this second version of the question. Rest all the other things, they will be handled like we were handling the previous one. But in this case, what is special about this case, let us understand. Okay, suppose initially my start is over here at 0 and my end is at 4, right? And my mid will be over here at 2. This element will be my mid. Now obviously guys, if you see that if this is our mid, then this portion of the array is sorted, or the second portion of the array is sorted, and this portion is not sorted, right? But we will not be able to distinguish this particular thing. This is the main concept of this question, that we will not be able to distinguish if this part is sorted or if this part is sorted if the elements are same. So if I just try to dry run this on this particular condition, then see, start was over here at 0, so my nums of start was 1 and my nums of mid was also 1, right? So if I check these two elements, they are equal, right? So the equality condition, what they will do, they will make this whole condition true, and this case will be handled in else if block. But when my start to mid is not sorted and my end to mid to end is sorted, we usually handle that in the else case. But over here you can see this condition will get violated over here. As simple as that. Now if you think that okay, I might be able to see that this particular thing is sorted, but you won't be able to do that. If you just remove the equality, also in the previous question also we have discussed this, why this equal to sign is important. First of all, it will hamper all other cases, that is one point. But even if you remove this equals to sign, you will not be able to handle or visualize that which side of the array is sorted. That was the main intuition there. We had to identify the sorted part of the array. There we deployed binary search. But here, if you just remove the equals to sign and if you say that okay, this will work for this, okay fine, it will work, maybe it will work, okay. But if there is a case like this, just look at this case 2. Over here the start will come over here and end will be over here and my mid will be over here. So this initial part of the array is sorted, right? It should be handled in else if block. But if you just remove this equals to over here and then check, okay, nums of start is less than nums of end, this condition is not matching, right? So it will come to else part, but it should have been handled in else if you just remove the equal to, this particular case runs fine, but there will be problem in this particular case. And also other cases in generalization also we would need this equals to sign. If you don't remember, then this was the case that we saw 3-1 over here. If this is the case, then you can understand that this equals to sign is important, right? So the fact that there is only one situation when we will be confused for this repetition of element, and that case is if you have understood that this nums of start, right, when this is equals to nums of mid, right, and also your nums of mid is also equals to nums of end. If this is the case, guys, then we will be confused that which part of the array is sorted. If we handle this particular case, then all the other cases will be generalized by whatever code we wrote earlier, right? So moving on to that, if this is the only problem that we have, then what kind of solution do we have available to us? Now see, what I am saying is that my start was over here, my end was over here, right? Start and end was over here, and my mid was over here. Now in this situation, I would not be able to find out which portion is sorted. So what I can do is, I can move my start one place and move my end one place, because first I will check that if this current mid element is only the target or not. If this is the target, okay, I will return it then and there. But if this is not the target, then nums of start will also not be the target, and nums of end will also not be the target, because they are equal. So if they are equal, what I can do is, and not target, I can shift both of them. My start will move one place ahead and my end will move one place backward. Now again, there is a possibility that maybe again we find a one or like the similarity. This case again hits. For example, if the array is something like 1 1 2, if this is the case, right, if this is the case, your start will be over here, your end will be over here, and your mid will come over here, and after that you will, this case again arises. Now if you move your start to over here and you move your end over here, then also the same case arises. So until and unless the start and end both are pointing to different elements other than the mid, like it can be possible that both start and end after a particular iteration, they are pointing to the same element, but that is different from the mid element, if you are understanding, right? So in that case we should not bother. But until and unless all three elements are equal, there is a problem that is existing. In those particular cases, we will be iterating my start and end one place and then recheck again. That is the only enhancement that is required. If you have understood the previous one properly, I would highly recommend you to watch that video. This is just the previous video of this playlist, right? So yeah, that is the only enhancement. I will just code it up. I have just over here, this was the code that we wrote. I'll just copy this entire thing, right? I'll copy this, and over here, guys, if my nums of mid was equals to target, we were returning mid, but over here we need to return true if the element is present, and if the element is not present and we move out of the while loop, I have to return false, right? And another thing, the last thing is that after this check over here, we need to handle the case which was creating problem for this repetition of elements, right? There was only that case. So after I have checked that the middle element is not equals to the target, what I can do is, I will check that I will check if my nums of start is equals to nums of mid, and also your nums of mid is equals to nums of start, end. If this is the case, then what I'll do, I will increment my start once and I will decrement my end once, and after that, because at that particular iteration, whenever I shifted my start and end, my mid has to be recalculated. So after iterating them, I should not check these conditions. I should again evaluate the value of mid. So what I'll do is, I will just write a continue statement over here, so that again the while loop starts from the beginning, and for this new start and end, a new mid is calculated, and we'll check that, and then we will be going to this condition. And if there is a repetition of case, again over here start and end will be iterated, and we will be starting the loop from the first, right? So this is the only enhancement. Also guys, in previous day, what I have observed was, over here we were checking, right, that my nums of mid is equals to target or not. If it is equals to, if my nums of mid is equals to target, I will be returning true from here only. So over here in these conditions, when we wrote this inner conditions, we gave a equals to the target is less than equals to nums of mid. This will never happen, right? This equals to will never happen, because the equality has already been checked upwards. If it was equal, it would have been returned from there. So I could omit this equals to signs, because the nums of mid will never be equal to target. If it was nums of mid, if it was so it would have been returned from here. That was another thing. This is nothing wrong if you put the equals to sign, but yeah, this is one tiny little enhancement, right? So yes, this should work. right? Beats 100%. Thank you.